Brakate Yahweh, Brakate Yahushai, Brakate Yahweh, Brakate Yahushai, Brakate Yahweh, Brakate Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Racha Kodash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the whole elect out there. You Akim, to Zadakim, to do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the Pre-Shaman, this week's Little in Transit is going to be entitled We Saw a Glimpse. Alright, we saw a glimpse of what? Of Amos 8 and 11. That speaks about a famine of the word. Alright? Because it says there shall be a famine, but not of bread, but if you're in the word of the Most High, right? And how do we see that? Well, they shut down Facebook, which owns Instagram, which owns WhatsApp, and of course Facebook. Had a system error, right? A service problem, right? And that's just, again, that's just what they say. We don't truly know what's happening. You know, being circumspect, you know, they do a lot of trial runs, you know what I'm saying? And it's not the first time we've seen a major platform shut down for a period of time, because they did that before Instagram, right? Now, which is owned again by Facebook. Now, let's say, what if that was Google? Google owns Android services, Play Stores, Gmails, a lot of things. So it's nothing for these tech companies all out there in California, which when you get to the nitty-gritty of it, they all lean the same way politically, the same, all part of the agenda, all quote-unquote left-leaning, and we have a left-leaning president, right, in the form of Joe Biden, right? Big tech is like, you know, they unified in the agenda. So what's to say they shut things down, all right? Now you can't get in contact with a lot of people because for a split second, people are losing their shit. People that surround their lives around social media, all right? It's nothing for them to stage a cyber attack. You know, most of these black swan events are orchestrated by the so-called white man for his agenda, order out of chaos. 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. That's a scripture that just keeps getting brought out, especially in these days and times that we're in, where the so-called white man, knowing that his time is short, is going to pull out all stops, all trickery, all forms of subtlety, as is his nature, pursuant to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, and the 1st verse. However, Most High set up candles in Jerusalem, you know, candlesticks in Jerusalem. It's in the book of Zephaniah, right? And he has revealed his secrets, pursuant to Amos 3 and 7, to the prophets, right? So there's things that the Spirit's just going to have certain brothers stumble upon, put pieces together, and expose it and bring it to light, all right, to the rest of the nation of Israel, all right? Yahushua said, you're the light of the world. That word there for world is cosmos, so the prophets are light onto the, you know, a beacon really onto the rest of the nation of Israel to warn them to see in the dark, because that's what light does. It makes you aware of what's going on in the dark, right? And this thing, you know, was for a day. Facebook stock plummeted, all this type of shit. But look, man, it was a bit strange, you know what I'm saying? Not having WhatsApp, because that's how I normally communicate with brothers. I haven't used messaging in a very long time. But it was just like eye-opening to the fact that, not really eye-opening, but it's just like, man, just like that, they could cut off communications between brothers. So now is the time, again, I mentioned Google. Google owns YouTube, right? And this is where, for the most part, a bulk of the videos get put up on YouTube as it stands. You know, as they come up with more different regulations, you have people that's, you know, going to different alternative outlets such as Odyssey and BitChute and these types of things. But the most well-known platform and easiest really to use is YouTube. However, it's the most strict, one of the most strict with their community guidelines, right? So it's, I mean, we know the whole guideline shit is all bullshit. They'll talk about, you know, we're talking about hate speech and harming people and lies, when, you know, rap videos talking about the same things, the guidelines that they say we're breaking. Rap videos concerning hate speech, concerning all these things, millions of views, they don't really give a shit, right? But when the truth come out, that's when it's a problem. So we know really it's about censoring the truth, okay? And we've been saying it to the Spirit, look, man, there's going to come a point in time when there's going to be no more YouTube, right? And in Jacob's trouble, there ain't going to be no going out there on the highways and byways and all that. We're not going to have time for that. How the hell are we going to link up if we don't have no way to communicate? You know what I'm saying? You have brothers in different boroughs, you got brothers in different states. When they shut down this whole Internet of Things and ways to communicate, who the hell is still carrying around beepers in these things? Nobody, right? So it's gonna sort of revert to back how it was in the ancient world. You know what I'm saying? And other by sending letters and all type of. We're just gonna be walking in the spirit of the Lord. That's when faith is gonna kick in. All right. I mean, faith is always in, but that's when it's gonna even be more heavily tested, if you will. All right. As we approach the hour of temptation, as we approach World War, all right, the so-called white man is going to create some sort of red flag, scary ass event, crazy event, and then come up with a solution that involves the MOTB, that involves further and more prophecies, man. And that's sort of what he's always been doing. That's his MO. Because at the end of the day, we all know 9/11 was an inside job, but what did it set up? It set up what the scriptures speak about in Jeremiah, with the 49th chapter, when it speaks about the least of the flock, drawing them out. It set up the hatred towards the state of Israel over there in the Middle East, because that's where the so-called Jew, all right, that's where he primarily dwells, all right. And them being over there escalated things, man. Escalated the war in the Middle East, and the Middle East is Yahweh Shabbat, the Most High's decision, which is judgment. That's where it's going to kick off at. So the so-called white man, being a devil that he is, all right, and killing the lives of hundreds of thousands of people and ruining the lives of millions, if not hundreds of millions, with all these different countries and stuff. Ultimately, it was to serve the Most High's agenda, because we're moving at the beat of the Most High's program. All right, the MOTB, World War III, all that really is of the Most High's. It's the Most High's program. All right, the Most High's using his sword, Psalm 17 chapter. All right, his instrument of destruction, the so-called white man, to further prophecies. All right, we don't have a goddamn problem with that. All right, excuse my language. We don't have a problem with that, man. We want this man to hurry the hell up and do what he got to do, because for us to attain, and us being the nation of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, for us to attain the crown and the kingdom and the things that we hope for, the passing away of this society, this man has to sort of move really to like the 11th hour with his particular plans, all right? Because the scripture says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straight. So that he has to achieve a certain fullness. The best way I could explain it is like, imagine working at a job and your lunch is at 12, right? You're starving, your lunch is at 12 p.m. And at 11:59, 30 seconds or 50 seconds, some crazy shit happened to where you can't have lunch. That's going to be this whole New World Order agenda of the so-called white man. As soon as he's at the precipice of or at the zenith, as soon as he's about to hit the zenith of what he wants to accomplish, all right, that's when the Most High is gonna intervene, okay. So yeah, hell yeah, the MOTB and the majority of people taking it, just like a majority of people are taking the game changer, all right, has to come to pass. That's just what it's gonna be. All right, martial law, Jacob's trouble has to come to pass, and we can't rule out a guise in furthering this is a so-called cyber attack. Like, we're living in a cyber age. In fact, most of our finances, our way of life in this society, in this era, this technology era, is tied to cyber stuff. It's tied to the internet. All right, so hey, cyber attack from China, a cyber attack from this country, that country, a cyber attack from whatever they want to prop up, all right, could lead to major changes, okay, from the status quo. Okay, we don't know what he has in mind, but we're just saying you can't rule out anything. The so-called white man, he's willing to try any and everything to achieve his agenda, man. So we saw a glimpse of that with the shutdown of this thing, man. With that, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Rucha Kodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone Drew well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Stay strong and shalom.